Good morning, everyone. We welcome you to our Iron County Commission meeting this Monday, July 27th, 2020, and it's 9 o'clock a.m. We appreciate your attendance. We'll begin this morning with an opening prayer by our treasurer, Nicole Rosenberg, and then we'll be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Marilyn Wood.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we are grateful to gather together this morning in our County Commission meeting. We are grateful for our many blessings, for our liberties, and the opportunity to live in this great nation. We're grateful for our beautiful county and for the many opportunities and blessings that it provides to us. We're grateful for our commissioners and for all they do for our good county. We pray today in our meeting that we will be prudent and wise, that will make good decisions, that will benefit all the people here in our county. We're grateful for all we have. We're grateful for the blessing and opportunity of working and living here. We pray for thy blessings to be with us and help us in all we do. And we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'd like to excuse Commissioner Adams this morning. He is with his family, and hope he has a great time with them. Let's see. We will go ahead and go to our departmental reports, and we'll start with, I don't see Jared yet. Is he IT?
Yeah.
So is he? He was here this morning. Maybe text him. We'll just skip over him, and we'll go to the assessor department. Cindy Bullock.
Good morning.
Morning.
The assessor's office is doing well. We, since last report, finished our assessment roll. We were actually early. Values have gone up in the county, a little bit more in some places than others, but they did go up. Because of that, and as Dan reported, I think last time, the tax rate actually went down slightly. We are getting ready now, since valuation notices went out for Board of Equalization. The auditor's office runs that as the clerk, but we prepare all the files, and we have been, the phones starting Thursday afternoon and Friday were pretty, well, not Friday because it was a holiday, Thursday. Wednesday afternoon and Thursday were pretty busy, and I expect them to be even busier this week. As you know, when people want to appeal their value, they can appeal the value but not the tax, but sometimes that gets confusing in their eyes. I encourage people who have questions to appeal. It's not a confrontational, and sometimes we get a lot of people appealing just because we're their only voice. They come in and talk about the garbage. They talk about a lot of things, and we become the sounding board because we're the only face-to-face that people can come in and really express their frustration over whether it's services, taxes, where their taxes are going, things that don't even have to do with the assessor's office, but we get to be the sounding board. So we're gearing up for that. Those dates, if you choose to appeal, you have until the 15th of September to file a Board of Equalization application with the auditor's office, and then those dates are, I don't have them in front of me, but the
15th
following
of July.
Thursday September.
Oh, September. Okay.
The 15th of September.
To-
So it's 45.
To contest.
No,
it.
of 15th, yes, 45 days from when the value goes out, or September 15th, whichever's later is what it says by statute. So they have until September 15th, and then we'll start the hearings that following Thursday and Friday. I don't have a calendar in front of me. I should have written them down, but I can give you those dates. And they're actually Oh no, they're not on the valuation notice. So the 2 Thursday and Fridays after the 15th. The 15th is like a Wednesday, Thursday. So not that week, but the following. I believe it's about the 24th September.
September 19th is a Saturday.
So not that week, but the following.
September 26th is the next Saturday.
24th, 25th.
The Thursday, Friday.
24th, 25th.
Yeah. And then the following Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
30th, 31st. 30th, 1st, and 2nd.
Yeah. That's a little bit later than we try to do it. We try to have it done just so that we don't run into Nicole pushing her with her getting hers out. We try to get them done by September or by October, but sometimes the calendar just doesn't work. So those are the dates that the auditor has set up for those Board of Equalization. Again, as you know, we have a hearing officer, or we have 2 hearing officers who conduct those meetings, but you're welcome to come. They're kind of open. If they're commercial, they're not, because oftentimes there's commercial data that's shared, income information that is not available. But if you want to come, we just get the taxpayer to say it's okay. We also sent out personal property billings. This is the first year we did it online, and it was very well received. Personal property is not a tax anyone likes. I don't like it. I don't like to administer it, but I don't get to have the choice of what I get to apply and what I don't, so we do it. But the online filings have made it much easier for people. There were also some changes in the law where if you've been under the statutory limit for the previous 5 years, then we don't have to send you anything, and you don't have to send anything back. The audit provisions are still there, but so starting next year, we will send even less out. So that will save us some money in administration costs. And then budget, we're doing pretty well. Actually, very, very well. We're a little bit behind for some of my appraisers on our CE hours. Many of our classes were canceled, so they've started to pick some back up. So we will. That budget line item will go up a little bit in this last quarter as we're trying to catch up on some of those CE hours, but otherwise we'll end up well under the budget or pretty well under the budget.
So
have any
Cindy, going back
questions?
to personal property, where people fill it out online, does that save you guys a lot of work entering
Yes.
that? So quite a bit? You
Yes.
still have to review it, right? But,
Yes.
obviously, but it's already in there.
Yeah.
That's good.
So it comes in to a system that we paid for that was written by actually some IT people from Tooele County, and they've been using it for a couple of years. So we contracted with them to write it or to tweak it a little bit so it would work for us. So it comes in on a different form, and then a different system, and we approve it and then push it into our tax administration form. It saved some money. There's been some tweaks with it that we've had to do, anything with a new system for the first year, but it has been really a lot more efficient. Last year was crazy. If you remember, that was about, when did Rhonda got hurt in May of last year, so right about the same time that those personal property filings were due. And Teresa stepped up, did a great job just taking it over. So it's been, this is the first year that Teresa's done it, the whole cycle, but she's done a great job. And then with the new personal property online filing, but it has made it much more efficient for both taxpayer and for our office.
Good.
Less error too, because you can't, well, I shouldn't say you can't. It makes it easier to make sure you get the equipment in the right line item, in the right depreciation schedule. So it's been good.
Yeah, I helped Brad with his this year for our business, and it was.
What did you
pretty-
think?
it was
As
good.
a-
I had to call and ask one question, but but it was good.
Yeah, and now it'll be. I mean, after the first time, it should get easier and easier.
Right.
So
Been doing it the old way for 30 years, so it was a little different. But
yeah.
so it's good.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
I just realized I missed. Sorry, I missed approving the minutes. We need to go back and do that. Is there any questions on the minutes?
No. I'll move for approval of the minutes of the July 13th, 2020 meeting.
I'll second that. So it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the July 13th, 2020. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, Jared, you're up. IT. I'm really excited. I talked to Jared. I just since since I began this term, I just have not been really excited about our email program in the county, and asked Jared about it. He said he's moving over to more of a called the Gmail type platform, or
It's Office 365
Office.
platform, so it's Microsoft's, but yeah.
I'm so excited about that. I read and I read something from 5 County last week that I need to sign. But I cannot find it again. And it's just, and there was another one I need to sign. I found it on my phone this morning, but I couldn't see it on the computer, so I emailed it to myself. And so, anyway, it's just,
There it is.
it's a little glitchy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's an older, that email system's an older system. It was time to get something
So
new. It was a great system for us and saved a lot of money because of the way it ran and that, but it's just kind of, it's outdated. It's time to move
so
on.
I'm really excited about that. How soon will we have that up and going?
It's probably still a couple months out.
Okay.
So we'll still have to kind of go through all the final pricing and seeing how to implement it. So it comes out in different stages. So not Office 365 has a huge platform where it's got all your Excel, Word, PowerPoints, and Team Viewer, all that kind of stuff.
That's
So it's got a whole big aspect, and they sell them in different blocks. So we just got to figure out which employees need which and get it all priced out. So we're still probably a little ways away, and then setting up the server and everything to host it, or if we decide to have somebody else host it. So,
great. Thank you.
so
Appreciate
We're
that.
still a little ways out on it, but we're excited too. Should be a good move forward for the whole county. So
Just to search for old emails and things, it's just
Yeah.
that'd be way better.
not only that too, but then to provide archiving capabilities and retrieval of the archives and all that a lot easier than what we're currently doing. So
Save you a lot of time.
Yep.
Good. Will it move this old system kind of into that so that you can retrieve old stuff? Or
we won't. Yeah,
it will? Okay.
we probably won't. We'll probably just archive the whole system and just kind of bury it there for information later on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we could transfer everything over. But I like starting with a clean slate. So
Right.
so we'll just see which is best, and we'll go that direction. So.
Okay.
Well, I didn't really prepare anything for you guys to have, and there's not really a ton to comment on, so I'll make it real quick. If you guys have more questions like that one, I'll be glad to answer them. But our budget looking really good. With COVID, I kind of expected to go up, but then there were some other monies that were available, so we kind of overspent in a few areas to allow people to work from home and things like that. But then travel, training, everybody's experienced that. We're not able to do it. Everything's remote if you can get it to be remote. So the budget overall looks really good. Really about the only big projects we've got coming up is the fair starting to come into full swing. We've got a new software thing that we're starting with them with the exhibits. And so we're doing training on that today. So
Good.
That's kind of our big project. And then a big thank you to you guys for the new office space over there at the USU building. It's really good. We've been in there for a couple weeks now and enjoying it. So we appreciate that.
Good. Glad it's working out.
Other than that, if you guys have questions, I'm kind of good.
No, through working kind of through this whole COVID thing and website, I really appreciate Taylor and her effort. She's been really great to work with. And I've told her that several times, but if you'll pass that on to her.
I do. And we appreciate hearing the feedback like that too, and I do pass that on. She's aware of it. She's done a phenomenal job with it. So she's like with what Cindy was just talking about, the personal property. She really kind of took that one by the bull by the horns on that and got that going. And the counties are liking it so much that I just got a phone call this past week from Washington County. They're looking at using the personal property program now too, and they want to see how it's working for us. So yeah, she's doing a great job though.
Great. Yeah, I really appreciate all of them. I bug Josh fairly regularly as well, and
Yep.
I really appreciate the whole staff. I wish we weren't so dependent on you, but
Yeah, that's what we're there for. So we enjoy the work, and yeah, they're a pretty good staff.
it's tough to get anything done when your computer doesn't work.
It is.
You can't hand write it anymore.
Nope. Kind of all of us relied on it.
I appreciate it. You guys are great.
Alrighty. Well, thank you. I'll pass that on too. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Sure, appreciate you. All right. Let's see. We'll go to our treasurer, Nicole.
Thank you, Madam. The first one with handouts today.
Thank you.
School teacher. Oh. Well, so the first lovely handout I gave you just shows what we've collected so far this year since January 1. So just a little over 14 million. Of course, our big collection times October, November, December. So we're still small amounts, but we'll get it going. And then, of course, the second one is just what comes only to the county, which is about 2.2 million. And then our pool cash, we're really great with our cash right now. We're, I think, over 40 million, which is about as high as I can remember it being. So we're doing real well with our cash. All of our accounts are great. Of course, our rates are horrible and expected to get worse. So our PTIF at the end of last year was at 2.28. Last month it was down to 0.94. They're thinking it's going to go to about 0.60 this month, and they're hoping it won't go below 0.50, but not sure at this point. So we picked the right time to do some investing with Morton. Our rate with them is 1.67, and that should not change over the next 2 years. So we're really, really glad, and that's working out really well for us. So
Can you refresh my memory on that?
yeah,
So
we invested $12 million with them, and they do more of a long-term. So they were able to get us some really good, like 4%, 5%, which helps our overall number. And they lock it in for a longer period of time. So most of ours right now are locked in for at least 2 years, and some are up to 5 years. So that will really help us while rates are staying a little bit lower. So our return from them has been around $19,000 a month, which is really nice. So we're liking that, and I'm really glad we did it when we did. Our outstanding taxes right now are at $5,800,000. Last year at this same time there we were at $5,300,000, so we're up a little bit. Hoping that we can get that coming down. So Kim Coburn with the state mineral mining, she emailed me last week to let me know that Black Iron's getting even closer to moving out of bankruptcy. They reached a settlement with that Convoy group that has been, I guess, a real thorn in their side. So she said that they are getting closer and closer. So hopefully that will bode well for us, I'm hoping. So in our office, we're just working on summer projects, moving delinquent taxes to new numbers and splits, working on returns. We start getting our mortgage requests for tax notices, and you hate to think you start working on preparing tax notices already, but it gets going pretty quick. So our budget is super good. We have tried to do as Dan asked and really not make any purchases, just what we bare minimum need. So, and of course all of our expenditures happen October, November, December for us. So we're doing real well on our budget, and we'll keep our eye on that and try to keep it as bare as we can, and just hope that our county does okay that way. So Any questions or? Oh, we're working with the fair also. They want to do some limited seating where they can assign tickets. So we've been working with Instant Payments and them in trying to get that set up and going to where they can do some limited seating with assigned ticket seats. So we've got that going with them.
Is
Always
that,
something.
which events is that for?
I think for all of them.
For all the arena events?
They're wanting to do just that. I think the middle section of the grandstands where they can have actual assigned numbers and seats. So we'll start with that and see if they want to expand for next year and get to where they assign a seat to everyone. So, but Melanie's been working with Brandon at Instant Payments, and I think they've about got that ready to go so far. So it'll be good. But any questions?
Great report.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Appreciate it. All right. Carrie, a recorder?
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so we've been really busy in our office. Recordings are really up. I don't know why. Just the way it goes, I guess. This quarter, we're at 5,052 recordings. We had 1,868 transfer documents and 11 subdivisions, which is a lot. It's almost one a week, and a subdivision takes quite a bit of time to do. So that's quite a few subdivisions. So I did kind of look into it, and for the first half of the year this year, we're at 9,104 recordings, and last year we were at 6,782, so we're about 30% up this year. And again, we've been at a pretty steady incline the last 5 or so years, but we've had a bigger jump this year. We'll see if that continues. So revenue last quarter was 154,000, and this quarter it's 196, which we had a little over 1,000 more recordings, and at $40 a pop, that's $40,000. So that's kind of how that works. As of June 30th, I was at 42% on my budget, so a little low. The majority of my budget is honestly wages. We have a little travel budget and a little office supply budget. We haven't been doing any training, just like everybody else. And then I did budget this year. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but we're working on switching our current mapping software into the ArcGIS Parcel Fabric. And I do have that RFP ready to go. I'm hoping to get it out the end of the week. So hopefully we can at least get that started before the end of the year, because it is going to take a few years to get it completed. So that's what I'm trying to get done. When we're busy, it's hard to get, because I actually do the recording in my office. So when we have a lot of recordings, it's hard for me to get that extra stuff done. But I'm hoping to get it done by the end of the week. So that's about all we're doing. Just the same things that we're always doing. Do you guys have any questions?
So Ken works in your office, right?
No, Ken actually works under IT.
Oh, does he? Okay.
Yes, but he's involved in this GIS project.
Okay, so, okay.
Yep, Ken and Jared and actually Steve have all been a really big help to me. We've had several meetings, and this is the first time, to my knowledge, that the Recorder's Office has ever done an RFP. We don't usually have big projects like this, so it's new to me, and they've been a lot of help.
Good. So, and Commissioner Blake, I haven't talked to him about this yet, but I appreciated Ken and also John. He spent some time with me last week. SU reached out, and they want to pull some of the, they're going to have 200 students with the aviation program with helicopter training this fall. They're just bursting at the seams, and so they've reached out. They want to find some property anywhere in the county where they can use to just pour some pads, like a 40 by 200 foot concrete pad where they can fly out. Their students, and it'll pull them away from Parowan, Cedar. They're going to Delta, Kanab, Panguitch. They're going all over to use these airports because they just don't have enough room at Cedar City Airport. And so they're looking for 10 pads out in the middle of nowhere. John helped me last week. I appreciated his time to find some insignificant parcels. There was some out by Burrell, between the Burrell town site and Lund. I called Marilyn Wood and asked her, because they own property out there, and they graciously offered to donate a piece of property they really aren't using. So there's some great options. And we found Ken actually found some pieces right over by 2000 Flushes, and that might work good too. So we're in the midst of, we'll have to. Mike Edwards said we'll have to look at highest and best value on those parcels and work out a lease or a purchase. The insignificant parcels, they'd probably just purchase those, but on the other property over by 2000 Flushes, we might work out some kind of a lease. And I called and got some information on grazing, because that's about all that property I think is good for, grazing. So we'd establish that value and work out some kind of lease. But I think it's exciting. It'll be good to pull some of that traffic away from the airports and some of the noise complaints with residents, and get them out where they can, do their training. And so appreciate your help and John's and everybody's last week with that. So.
And that GIS map comes in really helpful for that kind of stuff, because you actually see the ground, so you can see where the roads are and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So as part of what we're doing, it'll just be, because currently we're not updating that map. My office isn't. So it gets a few years behind. So when that's updated, all that information's updated, it'll be really helpful for people. So.
Great.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Carrie.
All right. Commissioner Blake, do you have anything?
Just a couple of things with the fair. We're moving forward with the fair. We've had Joyce is concerned about some of her volunteer numbers. There's some of the volunteers that are in a more at-risk category that may not volunteer this year where they have in the past. I've been reaching out to a couple of student groups at SUU to try and fill those spots. The other thing that we're talking about doing is providing our fair volunteers with kind of a little gift bag of some hand sanitizer, a mask in the event that they choose to use that, and just some other items. Looking at some donations from the hospital, as far as some things to go in there, but just some things to make our employees or our volunteers feel like we're providing them with safety measures, if that would make them more comfortable to come. I don't know, there's a lot going on, but that's my project this week, trying to get that stuff together, and that's those items will either be donated, or we do have some COVID money that falls right into the scheme of what that can be used for. So that's my trying to pull the fair off. Jared mentioned the training this afternoon for the exhibits. I'm going to attend that as well. Joyce said that she may put me to work logging in exhibits. So I will be trained on the new software as well in the event that I become a fair worker.
That's good.
Good time. Good times.
You can deputize me if you need. I can help.
You betcha.
Okay. All right. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. That's all I've got for
All
this
right.
go around.
Couple things, other things I thought of real quick. I hadn't done very good at thinking about what I was going to report on. Commissioner Blake and I traveled, and Commissioner Adams is very familiar with this, but we went up, what was it, last week? We went up and met with town manager and the mayor up there, and they're looking for a trail system, and appreciated Adam Snow. He just walked in. He was up there with Heath Hansen, with Mike Lee's office, Senator Lee's office, and they're looking for what they have up there, and Brian has, they rent these side-by-sides up there in town, and they just buzz around town, and they need to find a way to get them out of town. So they're trying to connect a trail that goes kind of, you know, as where the road exits Bryan Head and goes up into the Cedar Breaks area, they're trying to find a trail, and they've located a neat trail system with old logging roads and things that are already existing. And we just need to work with the Forest Service in getting those approved so people can get out of that area and get over the Red Desert and ride some of those trails, and they can travel from Bryan Head to Duck Creek and vice versa, so you can improve both economies. So that's something we're working on. I know that's something that's been in the works for a lot of years, and so we're hopeful, and we appreciate, like I said, Adam Snow and his office with Chris Stewart's office and helping us kind of move that along. So we're working on that. We've been working a little bit on the Burl Community Center. It's a really good building. It had a new roof put on it recently, but it needed some work, so we replaced some tiles in the gymnasium area. I had Rebbers go out and paint that. We're installing some new doors. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 4 or 5 new doors in that building. The doors are in bad shape, so we're replacing those with some nice hollow metal frames and doors. We're going to have those painted, and so that building should be in tip-top shape once we're done. So
They use that a lot, right?
they do. It's really all they have out there for events and, you know, dancing and you know, their dance groups and yeah.
Weddings, they use it for a lot of different things.
I know Bob Holt's employees that live out there use that a lot for their events, and so it's good, and I'm glad we're able to do something as a county for that area, you know, to improve that building. So I think it's going to be nice for them. That's something that I've been working on. Other than that, I can't think of anything. We're always got lots going, but can't always bring it to my mind. So we'll go ahead. We'll go ahead and adjourn or recess this meeting until our 10 o'clock meeting. So.
Done early today. Sometimes we're pushing time.
Unless John's got something to take up 30 minutes. You ready, John? All right. Welcome to those that have joined us. We'll resume our Iron County Commission meeting this Monday, the 27th day of July, 2020. And first item on the agenda is public comments. 3-minute time limit per speaker for public comment. Participants should not repeat other comments, only for items not on the agenda. No items related to Commission's role as an appeal board. Comments should be directed to the Commission. No attacks on other people's character. Anyone would like to speak? Seeing none, we'll move to agenda item number 2, and we welcome the county seat here. I see Chad just snuck in back there, so we'll turn some time over to him, and appreciate you being here, Chad.
Well, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Mike,
Greetings.
recently seen on Star and Screen. I brought this for you.
Thank you, sir.
This is something that I also sent you electronically, which is probably the easier way to look. I'll leave the extra one.
Thank you, sir.
And I'll just use it now. Hello, everybody. This is as much for you. Hello. Hi. I didn't see you here. This is as much for everybody in the audience as it is for you. I have been meeting with commissions to just give an update on county seat and look at where we are and where we are headed. Of course, the conversation, as we've attended different meetings before we all became isolated and boarded up our windows and hunkered down here months ago. That's very distracting.
I'm sorry, Will.
He had it when we
19
first came in at 9. He had this snowstorm going.
59 or 60.
Either way, I want it.
Great car. I see George Maharis and Martin Milner when I look at that dashboard. That just dated me, didn't it? So we had discussions about how the county seat will proceed. I said, well, I don't know. We may expend all of our reserves before the year's out, and we probably will fall short by, I'm looking at this point about middle of September, depending upon if any other sponsors come forward. So I have to make a decision. Last year, I took a sizable amount of revenue from another project I have with the state to cover county seat because I believe that it is a critically important program, particularly for rural Utah. And I have this rather lucrative deal that's going to last 3 years. I don't want to spend all 3 years being the largest supporter of county seat and the biggest sponsor because at some point, I'm not a nonprofit and I want to, make something of it. So, but we feel it's very important and I have done it to this point. What I am asking is to try to get commitments from counties early this year so I can determine and I know you're not quite in your budgeting process, but to determine early on whether the counties across the state are going to continue to support the program so that I don't spend a whole bunch of money getting to January, February, March when some people finally decide what they're going to do, or April, or just last year, June, so that we know what to do going forward. Now, on that note, I would also like to talk about what I kind of see on the horizon. Is there press here?
I don't see any.
That's too bad. I actually ran into one of John Huntsman's campaign marketing. He's their marketing guy, not the campaign manager, but the marketing guy, yesterday at the grocery store. And sounds like, contrary to the rumor and then the dispelled rumor, they're still seriously considering a write-in campaign. which I thought was rather interesting news, and I doubt, unless he wanted it known, he would have told me that. So, and I bring that up for one reason, and that is none of this commission was here when we started the county seat 10 years ago. It was a different set of people, and Iron County's had a fair number of changes. What triggered this was a hostile administration in Washington that was very unfavorable to the rural parts of America, and a lot of the actions of Governor Huntsman, i.e. his promotion of wildlands designations and some of the other things that really stood to damage or hurt rural Utah. So I find it funny that we come 10 years down the road and we sit here trying to decide whether this goes forward or not, and we're looking at exactly the same situation. You know, hopefully there's a different outcome in front of us, but if you look at the polls today and you look at the unsettled nature of Utah politics, we may be right back where we started from 10 years ago, when this seemed to be an extremely important show or project to have on board. So, just an observation. You can kind of go through this proposal. It was really designed to be a clicker thing, but I knew that I couldn't leave till this morning, and I knew I wouldn't get here early enough to be able to hook the computer up and do all that stuff. So
You have it on a flash drive?
I actually emailed the presentation to all three of you.
Forward it to me, will
John
you?
can probably,
Yeah.
I could probably,
I can also arrange, John, to get it to you as well.
well,
We can do it right now.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying.
We can give you clicker power.
We can, yeah.
Hi, Cindy.
We're right uptown and stuff.
What's that?
It's the link, John, can you make that work?
Yeah, send it to me, will you?
It's
You know-
it's a Prezi. It's an online link. Once you start it, you just push the space bar.
Okay. Technology's great when it works.
Looks like you sent it twice, right? Got 2 emails from you.
You know, I just
one
want
about
to say, while we're kind of working on this technology part, your Derek came and did an episode with us regarding the life of a ballot, and it was incredibly timely. And he was able to explore some of the concerns that many folks have, and Facebook tells me I'm one of your top fans.
You
But-
might well be. Thank you, John.
But I just can't say enough positive about the county seat. I think you guys provide an incredibly timely and valuable service. I wish you weren't on it the hour that you're on, but the other part is you're archived, and we can, I mean, as far as an education piece, it's just phenomenal what you provide.
You know, it's really frustrating to me that the education system hasn't paid more attention, because there is a 10-year history of civics wrapped up in all of the, because every episode since our first episode is preserved on a YouTube channel, soon to be on a Roku channel, so that people can go in and just find the episodes and talk about any of the topics. Oh, look at that, of the county seat. And that's incredibly valuable.
Well, and on that, I was, when I was first elected, we were talking about the Alton Coal Mine.
Yep.
And I was able to go back to your episode and learn about the Alton Coal Mine. It was, and like John said, you can just go back and get up to speed with a lot of different issues.
And Paul, there's another part of it that hasn't really sunk in with me until the last couple of years, and that is that you can take issues like wild horses, you can take issues like water issues around the state, and you can watch a progression by looking at the shows. Like season 2, we talk about wild horses. I know this is a favorite subject for you. We talk about wild horses, and then the situation changes, and you can watch these issues that are recurring. Jail funding, you know, some of them are frustrating because we go 10 years down the line, we haven't fixed anything. We're still dealing with the same issue. The only difference this year is that when we go to the legislature next year, Lyle Hilliard will not be there, and jail funding might actually get a lucky break. But did I say that in the public? Oops.
So to change the subject,
Yeah.
I don't have batteries for my clicker. I guess they're dead. So if you would like, make a beep sound and I will move you forward.
So
You don't have all power, Chad. So
We tried.
I like doing Obi-Wan Kenobi thing. You want to change? So I just put this together very very simply, and I'll just breeze through it. You guys can go through it. Typical for us, we take an issue and we go in depth. So there's a lot of information in here. It should help you in your decision-making process. We ask and hope that you can make a commitment to us early. The county seat engages people who make policy and political change happen, and it's everywhere. It doesn't matter if, in fact, I got an email from our new state director who's on his way home asking me how he can catch up on land issues, and he says there's a shortcut to find land issues on the county seat site. I know you keep them, and I just pointed him right to our YouTube channel and said, Greg, here's where the stuff is. So federal administrators, obviously local, how many people in this crowd watch the county seat? That's pretty average for rural Utah. And if most meetings that I go to, that's a sample. But the community leaders, other elected officials, learn what's happening in other counties. They watch this. It becomes a dialogue for them. And it becomes a chance for counties to make sure that their argument is made by sound discussion, not sound bite. And that's like a little marketing thing that just kind of flipped off my fingertips. And so it's important to understand that there's an audience. And I would like to point out as we go to the audience, beep,
Oh, sorry. See?
as
There
we
we
go
go.
to the audience, that we have this group of people that watch. And I was talking with Ralph Okerlund, probably 6 months ago, and he said, thank you for doing this show. And he said, every time we start one of our committee meetings, somebody says, did you see the county seat? And he said, that's always, almost every meeting. You go back and look at the minutes of the Agriculture Environment Committee. That's how they start every meeting. Did you see the county seat? So I asked him if I could quote him on that, and he said yes. But this is the spectrum of people who are watching the program. And it's not the most popular show. It's not sexy. If we made it sexy, it would not fulfill its purpose. Its purpose is to take complex issues at the county level, beep, and present them forward. Fostering cooperation is one of the biggest things. When we start doing these shows and we start bringing players together, sometimes at conflict, and put them on a panel discussion and have a 30-minute conversation on a single topic, sometimes we actually cross bridges for the counties that weren't crossed before we sat down for that meeting. Mike, was it you that sat in on that roads? That was a very interesting show over at SUU because you had 3 different counties all having road issues. And I will tell you, at the end of the taping of the program, these 3 guys sat and talked about their application of the same issue and how different it was. And I thought it was very beneficial.
It was good. It really put I had no idea. I knew what our little issue was and was well versed in that, but to talk with those other commissioners about their issues, I really felt like everything tied together, and I think we were able to work on a broader issue that maybe we wouldn't have focused on
And this becomes
had we not had that program.
And this becomes a really important issue for your community to understand when they say, why are you spending money on the county seat? Because these things just sometimes don't happen in other environments, and particularly right now where a lot of the networking that goes on between counties is suspended until we get past this. This is a great opportunity because we still have an opportunity, whether virtually or in person, to meet. And we've been able to navigate those waters by changing the shows a little bit. Beep. Beep. It's kind of fun. Thanks for the suggestion.
Yeah.
So one of the important things is that this program has helped create transparency. And sometimes I don't think the counties capitalize on how valuable this is, because if you've got an issue brewing and you know it's coming, there have been times where the counties have just gone, I hope it goes away. And then your opposition gets out in front of you, and now you're responding instead of defining the conversation. And if there's one thing that we could do going forward, if we continue to do this program, is we need to get more engaged in that process of being out in front. And this is so important to the program, so that you have a chance to explain the policies, why you're making the decisions, and what the issues are before people describe it for you. Tooele County is going through this very process. Beaver County just went through that process with their event center that they wanted to build. And because they didn't get out ahead of it, the community started the conversation, and the commission realized they couldn't get back in front of it. And if we'd have just done this in the beginning, they'd have had something in the archives to share, they could have mediated, it might have had a different outcome. Beep. Beep. And that is the important part. Well, whether it's an EMS crisis or it's buses sliding off the road because the roads aren't maintained, because the Navajo Nation is taking all the funds that the county used to have for road maintenance, sometimes there are important issues that are only a focus in certain counties, and they need to be brought to the general public. And this is sometimes worth millions of dollars to counties. And so we just want to emphasize how important it is to keep the word out. Beep. The battery's low on the clicker. Beep.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, let's go on to where we are, and I'll move a little quicker over this because I don't know that I need to go over this too much. Where you're finding us right now is on ABC4 Saturday nights at 11 and Sunday mornings at 8:30. And granted, it's not the best time in the world, but then we would be competing if we had Thursday at 7 o'clock with Dancing with the Masked Singer or whatever it is. And we probably would get less audience than we get right now, and that is the president calling me, which it might have actually been. It's a spam call. Saturday night, though, is the time that Rod Decker used to have years ago when he did Take Two. We have the exact same time slot. And Channel 4 has been very good to put us on Sunday mornings in their news block and promote us as part of their national George Stephanopoulos state with Glen Mills right seamlessly into county seat. And the advantage that we have is that we are not station owned. And therefore, because of the way we do this program, we can talk about whatever we want to talk about. We do not have to take half of that time and give it to opposing points of view. Counties can have the discussions they need to have to get their point out. There are other places for the other side to get their arguments made. And sometimes it's valuable to have that happen. Sometimes there's already enough coverage on stuff. But we try to reflect what the conversations need to be for the counties, and we try to stay engaged in your issues. That's why when other contractors are out in the hall at UAC events, we are in the sessions because we're trying to stay on top of understanding the issues that affect particularly rural counties. Ratings. This is the question everybody asks. We averaged in the 4-month span of the first quarter of this year a 2.91 rating between the two programs. That's actually a pretty decent number when you look at it, and that averages out with the multiplier factor of about 74,000 viewers per episode each week in the first quarter of this year. We've had it as high as like 85, 86,000. But, you say, well, in a 3 million people, that's not much. But these are the people that thrive on this stuff, and they're the people that make decisions and influence in your community and through other elective offices. Okay. Let's just take a look at social media, because sometimes say, well, you guys look pretty weak on social media, and you guys could help us by sharing more stuff. But there is still cumulatively some pretty good stuff. In a 1 month period of time, our post reach was 14,105 on our combined social media channels. Okay, 10,860 people in that same period of time sampled our videos, and we had full engagement by 5,000 people. That's still not bad. That actually cumulatively starts to add up. Beep. I hate the way this thing works. And on YouTube, we've had 3,658 views in the last month. Cumulatively, over our entire library, we crossed 1 million views this year, just a couple of months ago. And so we've been waiting for that threshold to cross.
So there's, some of your.
There's the archives. Okay, let's continue on. And you can see that as issues start to come and go in different times of the year, you'll see little waves. But recently, from about the time that COVID really started to set in, our viewership has just really spiked up. Okay, let's go on to the next. Yeah, just keep going, keep going. There we are. Okay, next, what we do. County seat is really, like I said, helping you create the narrative. We can go past this, go on to the next. Yeah, you guys already know this. We've already covered it. Let's move on. I'm trying to be efficient with your time. Okay, so what somebody's getting for this, and sometimes people don't realize this, you're getting video production of an entire half-hour program. And as for those of you who were at the fall conference last year and in that session, I asked Channel 4, because we were having trouble with the funding of the show, to consider maybe they could take it over and do a better job with it. I said, what does it take for you to do a show? And I gave them the full rundown and said, here it is. They came back with $36,900 and some change dollars per episode without the airtime. So when Ralph Okerlund years ago said that our show was worth $1 million, he actually was wrong, because that comes out, that ends up being like $468,000 per quarter, which turns into $2 million a year, roughly. So we're very proud of the fact that we delivered this for under $14,000, including the airtime and all the talent fees, which they didn't include. We have 2 established time slots. We've been consistent for 10 years with those time slots. So people know where to find us, and I still think that's the bulk of the people that are watching this show, which are people generally over 40 years old, who tend to be the people who lead communities. We have additional airings on local channels. KTTA, Southern Utah Live broadcasts our program. There's not a day somewhere in the state of Utah at lunchtime, dinner time, evening or mornings that you can't catch a county seat rerun. KTTA is great. They run us 3 times a day, 6 days a week. So that covers the central part of the state. Okay, what's new? We're adding stuff for this year. We have looked at the trend of counties to rely on contracting for public information officers. We do most of that function just in trying to get the half hours together. So we are planning for this year to add a PIO function where we can actually help distribute information that the counties from their official departments need to get out to the press, help you write and craft good, effective press releases, and develop some communication strategies in addition to what we do around the show. We have most of the pieces in place. We have a full-time social media director. We've got people on our staff, obviously, like our producer, very involved in policy and understanding what you guys are facing. And all we have to do is connect the dots and make it more available for you and a mechanism for you to say, gosh, we've got this issue. We need to get something out. Call us on the phone, explain it to us. We can have something to our social media director in 20 minutes. And within half an hour, we can start distributing the stuff. And in those rare cases where you've got a major blow up, we can actually come to the county and be on the ground to help coordinate communications and create that buffer between elected officials and appointed officials and people that have to deal with it and cover those media questions. We're very good at it. That's one of our strong points. That is something that we're planning to add for this year, and we'll have more details on that in the proposals. And there's going to be a tiny bit of cost to that because I'm going to have to put one more person to work. But I think distributed between all the counties, it'll be the best bargain that rural counties ever got. So I've pretty much covered what I came to talk to you about. I hope that you still see some value in this, and I hope that you guys can make an early commitment so we can figure out what we want to do. We want to keep going, and I just want to take a moment to talk about Derek. Okay, Derek was our producer for the first 5 years. Marilyn, I think he's the only guy you ever knew or worked with. Derek is in the world of media, he is a unique creature because he gets rural thinking. And a lot of us do not, in this business, do not understand it. And he understands the importance of impact on communities. He likes policy. And when he decided to leave, he had no idea that he was going to miss this as much as he did. And I had no idea that it was going to be so hard to find somebody else. So we've gone through a couple of people, in years 6, 7, and 8 that, I thought were going to be good fits for the show, and they turned out not to be such good fits, and we were just very lucky to get this team back together that we have. And I don't know how to communicate for a guy that's been in television for over 40 years how hard it is to accomplish that in a business that is becoming more and more urbanized and less rural. And I say that so I don't have to get into the liberal conservative paradigm. But we think rural issues are important. They're in our hearts, and we want to continue to do it. We'd like to be able to continue to do it. So there's also in your folders this, and I'm not going to take a whole bunch of time, but this is where we sit with At Your Leisure, and this is a way to help generate those extra tourism dollars that are not here right now, or apparently you guys aren't doing too terribly bad. The last time I talked to Maria. But, most of the efforts of the Office of Tourism and a lot of the counties has been fly-ins. They're trying to get people from far away to come visit here. And this whole time, without any help from the State Office of Tourism, At Your Leisure has been totally focused on windshield tourists. We are totally designed around people who drive somewhere to go canyoneering, they drive somewhere to ride their ATVs, they drive somewhere to go camping, have family-oriented experiences, and those people are already a market that are over 150,000 strong just here in Utah. And remember one thing, when I talk about ratings on both shows, that is a sample of the 80% of the population that lives on the Wasatch Front. They do not sample off the Wasatch Front. And so when you get into an area where you have 2.9%, out in rural Utah, we think that it's 3 or 4 times that. Because as this sampling indicated, there are a lot of people that watch this program. And you don't have to confess that you miss it some weeks. So do I, but of course I was there, so I know what we're talking about. Anyway, with that, I would like to possibly have a chance to talk about leisure and some of the things that we are doing, both with promotion on the show. Of particular note is to look at the network, because we don't just air At Your Leisure in Utah. On Untamed Sports, we have they subscribe to 52 million homes in either over-the-air broadcast channels or cable systems. I didn't even include Right Now TV, which covers a section across the Mason-Dixon line in different markets. I didn't cover Midco, which is up in the Great Lakes, but we also are on Altitude, and we managed a year ago to start broadcasting over the air on KNLA Los Angeles. We are on KOFE Coffee in San Francisco, and we are in Las Vegas. And so we're hitting those markets. And granted, they're not big stations, but when you start looking at markets that the signal to our show is going into 4 and 5 and 6 million homes at a whack, it doesn't. You can take a tenth of the ratings that we get for this show in Utah, and you end up with more households. And the great thing is they're all carried on networks that are all about the kinds of stuff that we do. So the people don't just happen to fall upon it. They fall upon a network that has the kind of programming that covers the kinds of things we cover, and we shine that flashlight in the different places in Utah. One of them should be Iron County. That's it. Any questions? Derek would be very upset at me because he's not here to pick your brain for things we need to be talking about. I did talk about wanting to revisit water. How's your recharging going?
Good. I mean, our year was good. It wasn't quite as good as last year, but it was good.
Well, we didn't have as much rain until 3 days ago.
Right. Well, we had a pretty good snowpack this year again.
Yeah.
And we've added another project, another recharge project. So we've got about 7 good recharge projects in the valley going.
Good.
So it's good.
So are there other issues? And Cindy left. I was going to say she could chime in on that. You know anything we should be talking about?
Horses.
Of course. Marilyn, we just did one. I am on the hunt. Please, for all of you, if there are issues we should be talking about, by all means, just send us a text, send us an email, call us on the phone. I'll take your calls. Derek may not, because he's got little kids, take your call after 8 o'clock. But I'll take calls till 10:30 at night. If you've got something you need to talk about and you just want to get it into the system, just call me and we'll go to work on it.
About your trail system that you're trying to get, maybe if you could get a little bit more public.
Oh, you mean like the High Desert Trail system?
Yeah. Well, before you came in, we're trying to get a trail system out of Bryan Head to connect Duck Creek with Bryan Head and to get those ATVs out of Bryan Head and over to like the Red Desert and some of those areas where they can ride and not drive everybody crazy within Bryan Head City.
Who have we got working on it?
Well, we've Commissioner Blake and I went up and we met with Brett. What's Brett's last name? Hauser. Brett Hauser and Mayor Callaway, and we're working with Forest Service on that. It's been a long process. I mean, this has been going for what, 11 years?
10 or 11 years.
It's been a long time, and we need to get it done. I mean, it's so maybe a show on that would put a little pressure.
I think a story done by Leisure would be very appropriate for this. And how is the ground personnel at the Forest Service responding to this? Are they trying to be cooperative with it?
Oh, it's been a challenge. So, but we have a good relationship with our entities, our government partners. But that's something that hasn't moved as quick as we'd like on the Forest Service side. So.
Well, nothing like a little bit of attention.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump Jr., I just learned, is in Richfield today hunting because we saw Kevin Mortensen saw the Trump jet land at the Richfield airport. And so we know it wasn't the president because that would be Air Force One. So we figure Donald Jr. is up killing elk somewhere today. So
So are you planning to continue with the legislative presence on the Hill when that session's going?
Oh yeah.
Because that was new this last year, wasn't it? Or have you always done that?
Well, we've always done a lot that was the second year we've actually set up at the legislature ready to do shows every week. Or, and this is important to note, we also are available if you just want to tape a message on an issue that we can put out to social media right there from the Capitol. So if any of the groups, the clerk group, the sheriffs, the commissioners, have an issue that needs to get out there, we can put it into our social media channels, and most of the legislature follows us on at least one of them.
I thought that was very convenient having you there, and if
Right.
things come up, we can address it.
And so yes, if we roll into next year, that will be a continuation of what we plan to do, and that also kind of works into the virtual PIO. We can pipe your image from your phone into our office, and if we just send you some good mic equipment that's portable, it's easy to use, it can link right up to your phone, and we can keep those distributing around the state, and you can start to send us messages. We can edit them, trim them up, put some graphics with them, and in a very short period of time, in a matter of minutes or within an hour, we can turn around and give you a social media piece that will get people's attention, because it doesn't sound like a guy in a dimly lit room talking into a 55-gallon drum. And we have the technology, and through our COVID period of time, we've really refined the process where we can get pretty good at it. And what we do is we coach you on the phone and say, okay, you need to face this way, and you need to get the window light here, and then set a couple of things behind you, and we can dress it up just by knowing what sets need to look like. Our guy that is our technical director, Brian Schuster, he worked for KUTV and Skaggs for years, and most of what he did was studio management. So he's really good at lighting and knowing how to get that stuff done, and we're lucky to have him. So with that, I pretty much gone way over time, and I thank you for your time, and I appreciate the support of this county, and we'd love to see you guys back on Leisure. And I think we could really help that community. Just remember, we're not only about ATVs. So we like horseback riding, we like mountain bikes, we like hikes in the summer. And
Well, one thing we've improved our trail system tremendously over the years. Mike Worthen here's our expert.
Oh, I know.
And I don't know if you've done a show on our trail system, but
We have,
highlight
by the way,
lately. But
Mike, State Parks wants us to do a high desert story. So
And I would tell them, wait a little bit, because the high desert is mine in Iron County and Beaver County and Juab and a little bit in Millard, but on the upper end and the lower end, we haven't got them that interested in it yet, in Washington and.
well, and I think that's what Chris is thinking, is that let's get out there and create an issue about it with a story, because he specifically, state park. This is not an Iron County thing. This is a state parks thing, and he specifically asked us if we could do a story on it as part of their contract with us. So
That'd be great.
I would just as soon work with you and get back down here to get that set, as opposed to, I mean.
Michelle Evans over in Beaver County.
Yeah.
Is the one that's really spearheading this effort up.
Okay. Well,
And she needs to be included.
I can talk to Michelle and get somebody out there from their ATV. Who's working on the ground out there? You know, in Beaver County.
In Beaver County, Michelle.
She's actually
Michelle
doing.
and Kevin Wick.
Okay. I'll if you'd rather I go to Michelle, I'll go to Michelle.
Yeah, and then
I may
she'll
incorporate.
touch base with me and
I
we can do it
may
together.
incorporate both of you in it. I just need to get out on a portion of the trail and ride it. So I don't care what county that's in, but I'll talk to both counties about it. And maybe we'll
We
even.
got a new one in our area That's all BLM.
So, okay.
Okay.
I will get back to you. I'm going to have Cody reach out to you, and I'll have him call Michelle as well, and we'll get right on it. We'd like to get that wrapped up. Okay.
Thanks, Chad. Appreciate
Thank you
your time.
so
Thanks
much
for
for
coming
your time.
down. We appreciate what your show does, and I mean, I can't speak for everyone here, but I have always been supportive of your show, and
I would appreciate it.
I do. So,
Tell you what, I always am happy to get out of Salt Lake from all of those BLM lawn signs that surround, I mean, of course, my hackles get up when I see that because I think of Bureau of Land Management, but that's not what those signs stand for. And get out here in Trump country.
We surely appreciate the service you provide.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And I'll let Derek, I'll pass that on to Derek.
We'll-
Thanks all.
we'll get some more ideas for you with shows too.
Please,
So,
yeah, just get right after us and get on it. And here, I said I would leave this. So you can
All right, thank you.
take that for your record. There's
Okay.
another one for Al.
Perfect.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See you later. See you, Mary.
Thank you, Chad. Is this all one document?
This is the one that just has the 10. This is the one that has.
Okay. So,
We can take some time to read that.
Okay.
okay. Okay, we're on to agenda item number 3, discussion and possible approval of the Iron County Economic Board recommendation for the Utah Rural Grant Program application for fiscal year 2020. Danny Stewart, thank you. for being
Thank
here.
you, Commissioners. Good morning. Danny Stewart, Economic Development Director for Cedar City and Iron County. As you recall, a few weeks ago, we came before you and we set up the County Economic Development Board in accordance with Senate Bill 95, the Utah Rural County Grant Program. And appreciate your expedience in helping get that committee set up. We had an opportunity to meet as a committee. We've been discussing with this committee this Rural County Grant Program. Going back a little bit, when this program was approved by the legislature last year, the intent was to have an ongoing grant program for qualifying rural counties for up to $200,000 annually was the Part A of that program. Part B was up to a total of $800,000 through a competitive grant for the counties. In recent weeks with the special sessions of the legislature and trimming the budget, this program was adjusted. The Part B portion of the program, the large competitive grant, went away, at least for the foreseeable future, and the amount for the standing grant for qualifying counties was cut from $200,000 to $95,000 to ask on that. So we had a budget set up before those changes. We've come back and readjusted this to the new figures. The committee, the Economic Development Committee, would propose that the way that this grant be used for this year, Category A, which is infrastructure support, we would like to apply $30,000 to the Inland Port Program. I believe you're all aware that the Utah Inland Port Authority has contracted with Utah Association of Counties to reach out to all of the rural counties who are interested in a satellite port program with a request for information. It's a 3-phase request. We're just completing phase 1 of that this week. I'll have that submitted. Phases 2 and 3 call for a very in-depth market analysis. And anyway, I've visited with different consultants throughout the state and got some ideas on conducting some of those more in-depth analysis as far as market, looking at the operations of an inland port and how that might apply to our area, and got that figure based on my discussions with consultants who would be able to perform those types of in-depth studies for phase 2 and phase 3 of our application. If there's additional funding required of that, we're working through the 5-County Association of Governments to obtain any additional funding based on this match of $30,000. So that's the first category that we're asking of the $95,000 is for in-depth studies for the Utah Inland Port. Category 2, community development. I believe each of you are aware of the Iron Leaders Academy that is being put together through Southern Utah University's Regional Services Office under Stephen Lisenby. It's a community leadership development program. It's something that is very tied into what we're doing with economic development and our ongoing strategic plan to involve the community in these projects such as the Inland Port, et cetera. That would be $30,000 for that portion to help get that program up and running this initial year. And then the final is for business retention and development. You may be aware that Governor's Office of Economic Development, in their budget cuts, they did away with funding for the regional business resource centers. We have had one run through our Small Business Development Center, the SUBRC, under Craig Isom. We've been working on some projects with him, including community remote working type center, a community online center for the great number of remote workers that we have living in Iron County. You may not be aware, but there are an increasing number of people, and increasing rapidly since COVID, people who work for other companies outside of the Iron County area, some outside of the state of Utah, all across the U.S., and some even working for global companies, and they can live anywhere they want in the world, and they're choosing to live here. So one of the projects we're working on with Small Business Development Center is this co-working space. This would involve Southwest Technical College, SUU, and other BRC partners. So because that funding went away from BRC, we would like to partially make some of that up because we depend on them greatly for our local expansion retention efforts. So that's our proposal.
So that would be the balance of that'd be 35?
Yeah, 35 for that portion, 30 for the Leadership Academy, and 30 for the Utah Inland Port studies. I'd like to get that application submitted with this budget. As that grant is made available through the county, we'll keep track of that. We'll report all that through the committee and through my office for this first year, and we'll see where the program goes next year.
Okay. Very good. Any further discussion on this?
Do you have any questions at all?
No. Familiar.
Yeah, Mike's a member of this committee and knows this very well. But
I would move for approval of the Iron County Economic Board recommendation for the Utah Rural Grant Program application for the fiscal year 2020. A total of $95,000, $30,000 going for an in-depth study of the Inland Port Program, $30,000 toward the Iron Leaders Program, and $35,000 towards the Business Retention and Development Center for their ongoing existence.
Does that cover it?
that covers it.
Okay, I'll second that. So it's been moved and seconded for the approving this Iron County Economic Board recommendation for the Utah Rural Grant Program as described by Commissioner Blake. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. Appreciate it. Chair will now declare that we will convene as the Board of Equalization and go to item number 4, discussion and possible action regarding a request from Cedar Housing Authority for tax-exempt status beginning June 29th, 2020 through December 31st, 2020 on APN B-1891-4 located at 370 West, 1425 North, number 4 in Cedar City. And this property was purchased on June 29th, 2020. Christine Louder. will present this.
Good morning.
Morning.
Okay, I received this application from Cedar Housing. They've recently purchased a home, as you mentioned, on 370 West, 1425 North, number 4 in Cedar. And they are requesting exempt status from the date that they purchased the property through the end of this year. This is a property they have to apply for each year to receive the exempt status. Taxes will be due and collected for the time frame from January through June 28th for this property. So if you do approve this exempt status for this particular property, the total taxes due this year are $826.85. And the exemption, if it is approved, there would be $419.60 that would be waived, basically, and $407.25 would be due on the property taxes for this year.
So is this typical for this
Yes.
organization?
Yes, they have several properties that they have purchased over the years. They actually had one other one this year, but they forgot to send the paperwork in, and you have to do it within a 30-day time frame, or you miss it
Okay.
for the year. So they'll be adding that one to their list for next year.
Okay. Is there any questions on that?
No. I'd move for approval, approving the request from Cedar Housing Authority for tax exempt status beginning June 29th, 2020 through December 31st, 2020 on APN B-1891-4 located at 370 West, 1425 North, number 4 in Cedar City.
Okay, I second that. So it's been moved and seconded to for a tax exemption for the Cedar Housing Authority for tax exempt status beginning June 29th, 2020 through December 31st, 2020, as described by Commissioner Blake. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Appreciate it, Christina. Called you Christine. It's Christine. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You made that motion, right? Yes. I was interrupting my person.
Okay, we'll now reconvene as Iron County Commission and go to agenda item number 5, consideration of a memorandum of understanding between Iron County and the Bureau of Land Management to be a cooperating agency and participate in the preparation of the Pine Valley Water Supply Project Environmental Impact Statement. Mike Worthen.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is the cooperating agency is status is a opportunity afforded by the Council of Environmental Quality for the President on NEPA, on National Environmental Policy Act. And what it does, it allows the local governments, state and local governments, to participate in the decision-making process for major decisions such as environmental impact statements. And since this project, Pine Valley Water Supply Project, is an environmental impact statement, they have requested or have given the county the opportunity to become a cooperating agency, which allows them to set in the planning and development meetings of the CIS, discuss the alternatives, discuss the decision that can be made, and be involved. So it's a good opportunity in my estimate that it allows the county to understand how the project is being developed and what is all entailed in it, and discuss alternatives, and then allow the decision maker and the BLM to make the decision. Anyway, in affording the county this opportunity, the county must sign a memorandum of understanding with the BLM that we'll do certain things, they'll do certain things. Probably the major thing is that we'll participate and cooperate, representing the local government, and also that decisions and public press notices and things like that will be handled by the BLM. And that's basically it. So I guess we're asking, does the county want to do this? And if so, then we'll sign the MOU.
Absolutely.
You bet. I get it. Let me get on the right number here. I would move for approval of a memorandum of understanding between the Iron County, and the Bureau of Land Management to be a cooperating agency and participate in the preparation of the Pine Valley Water Supply Project environmental impact statement.
Second. So it's been moved and seconded to sign and participate in this memorandum of understanding between Iron County and the Bureau of Land Management to be a cooperating agency and participate in the preparation of the Pine Valley Water Supply Project environmental impact statement. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
That was a
Is that-
mouthful.
Yeah, it was. They're ready to sign, then, Mike? Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, agenda item number 6, consideration of offers to purchase property in the defunct Parkview subdivision within the Enoch Graben subsidence area. And this part of the meeting may be closed per Utah Code annotated UCA 52-4-205E for a strategy session to discuss the sale of real property. Our attorney, Mike Edwards, just barely completed this agreement, and we probably need to step in the other room and discuss this just for a few minutes. So if you all want to hang tight, it won't take us long, but just to bring us up, just refresh our memories a little bit and bring us up to speed, any changes we had. So we'll slip into this, into a closed session really quick. Do we need to make a motion for a closed session? So I'll entertain a motion for
So I would move to step into closed session per Utah Code annotated 52-4-205 subsection E for a strategy session to discuss the sale of real property.
It's been moved and seconded to move into a closed session for the sale of this property. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we're back to live.
Okay, I think we're ready. We'll now go out of closed session, move back into Iron County Commission meeting. We appreciate your patience. This has been kind of a complicated issue, but I think we've got it worked out. We appreciate all those involved.
Yep.
So this is just to reiterate, this is consideration of offers to purchase property in the defunct Parkview subdivision within Enoch Graben subsidence area. And we've come out of our closed session. The situation here, this was a subdivision. And Rob, what year was it built? Do you remember? 2006. Okay. So it was built. There was some major subsidence. The utilities were disrupted in such a way that the lots are uninhabitable, unbuildable. It went on county tax sale. There were no buyers, and so it was struck off that tax sale. But we were approached by several buyers that were interested in that property, and that's we're here today to discuss. We have two individuals, Mr. George Letterman and Mr. Richard Bronsema, here in attendance, and they submitted. We actually had, I think, 3 individuals submit offers, and they were the 2 that are the finalists in this purchase, or in this not purchase but conveyance of this interest. So basically, I want to make very clear in this that this will be conveyed by a quitclaim deed. This is not a warranty deed. No warranty or guarantee is made, expressed, or implied relative to title, location, or condition of properties. In addition, county assumes no responsibility, implied or otherwise, that property is in compliance with zoning ordinances, mining, reclamation regulations, building codes, and permits, and or any other applicable regulation or permits. Property is without guarantee or warranty whatsoever as to existence of correctness of ownership, size, boundaries, location, structures, or lack of structures upon the land, lines, titles, or any other matter or thing whatsoever. County does not warrant or represent property is habitable in or in any other particular condition. And so that's the situation. And does that describe it well enough, Mike? So we'll go ahead and entertain a motion. And I'm glad you're doing this, Mike.
All right. I would move to approve. I'm going to do this in 2 phases with the 2 different individuals. The first part of my motion would go to the property. It would move to convey our interest in that property from Iron County to Mr. Richard Bronsema for a total of 10 parcels, 10 lots, and this will be APN numbers A-1010-443. I would love it.
Why don't you just say the lot number?
Oh, yeah.
And then the phase after that. So lots 43 through.
That's what I
47.
was going to do, and
Phase 4.
I got sidetracked by the big number. Thank you. Thank you for steering me back on track. I'm going to start over. This is Iron County conveying our interest in the property to Mr. Richard Bronsema in, let me make sure I've got the numbers right. Okay, the first 5 will be in Parkview subdivision phase 4B, lot 443 through 447. The second set of 5 are in Parkview subdivision phase 4A. That'll be lots number 448 through 452 for a total of 10 lots with a total purchase price of $15,000. The second part of my motion is going to be a little stickier. This portion of the motion will convey our interest in property from Iron County to Mr. George Letterman for a total of 96 lots. The first portion of those lots are Parkview subdivision phase 4A, lot 339 through 363. And then still in Parkview subdivision phase 4A, lots 454 through 466. Moving on to Parkview subdivision phase 4B, lots 373 through 384. Parkview subdivision phase 4C, lots 385 through 432. And then back to Parkview subdivision phase 4B, lots 433 through 442. And again, 96 lots conveyed from the county to George Letterman for a sum of $38,491.20.
You just also identify that those are the lots that are identified on these individual real estate purchases.
Yes, those lots are reflected on these individual real estate purchase agreements, one for Mr. Letterman and another for Mr. Bronsma.
Good.
Have a motion be to execute and authorize these agreements, and so and convey the properties as described in the agreement.
Also, help me again, Mike.
Your motion is to have the county enter into these real estate purchase agreements.
Yes. My motion would also contain to have the county enter into these real estate purchase agreements to convey our interest in the property from Iron County to Richard Bronsma and to George Letterman, as described.
Perfect. I'll second that motion as described. So it's been moved and seconded to consider the offers to purchase property in the defunct Parkview subdivision within the Enoch Grove and subsidence area, as described by Commissioner Blake. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And that was okay. So I'll sign these, and then our clerk will go ahead and execute the warrant, or not a warranty, but execute a deed, the deeds, and the quitclaim deeds, and they'll be recorded. So I'll go ahead and sign these. Who needs these, you or John?
I do.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate that. It's good to get that off the books. And, that'll be good. Start using that property for a good use. We'll now go to our delegated items on the agenda. Number 1, prairie dog matters. Any prairie dog issues we need to discuss? Seeing none, county boards. I know John printed out a list here of different county boards just to review expirations of board members' terms. I haven't reviewed that yet, but I want to go through that and look at it. So, appreciate that, John. Anything we've missed? I think we're good. If not, I'll declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.